All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. And of course, thanks for subscribing. We're back at it with the latest update, which seems to be a point release for FSD Supervised 13.2.5.1. This looks to be bug fixes, nothing real notable on the release notes. So I'm assuming it's just bug fixes, but we're going to take it on a quick spin through our regression test path. And then we're going to go up the issue with the speed bumps to see if that's been addressed. Pop up the cameras here. I was checking for cross traffic on the last drive, the last first impressions 13.2.5, and I was not paying attention to the fact that it did roll this first stop here. Definitely rolled it. This one is coming to a full stop. No cars around it can go. So that issue might be resolved. It was probably a one-off, and we're good for that first turn. We'll go through the unprotected left, and then we're going to swing right towards the speed bumps, try to check that out, see if there's any progress made there after making sure everything is good from a regression standpoint, nothing real egregious there. It's been really good with turns. It's gotten my confidence all the way back with turns now, taking turns very methodically, making the micro adjustment for the Model S, the wider body of the Model S, and just doing it really, really good and confidence inspiring. Second turn, nice and smooth. Good mile an hour, good distance from the curb. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Winding road. Road is a little bit cleared, not as much salt on the ground, making it easier to see. Great job, great distance. Good job all around. Really, really confidence inspiring. Really, really good with that last build. I'm hoping nothing changes dramatically with this build and that it's just as good and maybe even better if it can handle those speed bump issues and other issues that were lingering. Lane setting was much improved, not completely fixed, but much improved over the previous build. And winding road is a piece of cake for this guy. Pothole still, no problem. Unprotected left coming up right here. Should be wide open. All clear all around. Comes to a full stop like it should. Creeps up in visibility. Garbage truck, it's gonna make it. It's gonna go for it. Great job. Great job. All right, now I'll go ahead and quickly edit the trip. I'll drop this one out, put this one in. It's gonna take us, loop us around and take us to the speed bumps on this one. And then we should be good to see what happens there. Now, granted, salt is not as prevalent, so the line should be a little bit more visible, but still wanna see it do that. I posted on X another sequence of speed bumps that were further spaced apart. 3 or 4 of them, I believe 3 of them, I think it was. No problem for FSD because they were so spaced apart. But these 5 in a row might be an issue. So I'm hoping that they did something to address that. Now, obviously, it's bordering on being an edge case, but it's a scenario where if it hits one speed bump too fast, no matter how many there are or where they are, that could still be a problem. Someone could hit their head on the roof. Someone could damage the suspension, damage their tires. All kinds of issues can happen, so it definitely is a safety concern if there's a situation where it cannot see or recognize the speed bumps. I know a lot of people are saying that, yes, the front bumper camera of the new Model Y and the Cybertruck will be helpful for that. It absolutely would be, to be able to help see speed bumps in areas where the markings aren't very clear. Great job, great precision. Still super smooth compared to the last build. And again, version 13 is a separate beast from version 12.6, which also went out simultaneously in this build. Again, great job Tesla for doing that. So if you got a Hardware 3 Model 3 and you're in early access, you likely got the latest build of FSD 12.6.2, and I think it's 12.6.2.1, if I'm correct, for that one. So point release across the board for both builds. Love that they're able to go out simultaneously on the same software branch. Super, super helpful. And more, convenient for the customers to be able to understand what version they're on, and just the varying FSD versions based on hardware limitations. And always stop. Stopping at the limit line, creeping up for visibility a little bit. Car coming. Garbage truck coming. Make a run for it quick. Garbage truck. Whew. Took advantage of the slow get up for the garbage truck and actually went for it. Could have gone a little faster for my taste, but I think the garbage truck saw us. They weren't going to like run into us. But overall, really good so far. So this will be a quick drive. Just going to test the major regressions. Don't want to belabor the point. Just making sure everything is still as good as it was on 13.2.5. And making sure that we didn't introduce anything new, but also see if there's any progression in the areas where it kind of struggled. And when I say struggled, for 13, it's like the only thing it really struggled on was the lane centering for me, which was mostly resolved in the last build, and the speed bump situation. Everything else was really, really good. Proper lane staging, early lane staging, proper acceleration, a little more assertiveness and hurry, as I mentioned before, the last build introduced, meaning that when cars were stopped, it would brake hard coming up to them as opposed to smooth, just as a result of its hurry profile. Dangerous, dangerous turn here. Blind all the way, left and right. Does a good job getting up to speed. Loses a little bit of traction on that one, just because of the coldness of the tires and saltiness of the road. Did a good job handling that. Great job getting around there. No turn signal, no hesitation, no twitching of the yoke. All good, all stable. And once we pass some of these roads down here, we'll jump right into the speed bumps and see what happens. We now have a car ahead of us, so that can also be a similar situation to the last time. So we can see how it does. But yeah, those are the real major issues for version 13. Version 12 is a little bit different. Oh no, detour. Eesh. I wonder if our speed bump road is closed. That might be a problem. Let's see what the car does. This is probably an area where it's... All right, it's gonna try to go around because this cop is not totally blocking, because you can come this way. No worries. It did the thing that it thought it could do. There's no arrows or any signs to say go left. It's just the cop is sitting there, so people instinctively know that that side of the road is closed. It wanted to kind of go around. I could flag it just in case, just to make sure that they got that. I'm gonna drive this one manually just to see if the actual speed bump road is closed or just that little area. I do know a way to get around that. Car coming. I should have let it drive this part, but I want to go a specific way. All right, I guess our speed bump road is closed. I'm gonna drive this part here. This road in this particular area is the actual road where FSD actually curbed my rim. And now it wants to get over for this really, really sharp turn. And that was a wheel and probably a rim. And I've been mortified of this turn, but just for you guys, I'm gonna let it take this turn. Speed bumps are here. Let's see what happens. Occluded by shadow, not slowing down. Did not slow down sufficiently for speed bumps. So this is still an issue, sadly. When it's covered in shadows, this one's not covered in shadows. Slows down nicely for. I really have PTSD, but if this is giving me the confidence that I think it is, it should be able to take this turn, no problem. Slows down for this one. Good job. Here's the turn. This is the curb rim turn. Don't do it to me. Don't do it to me. Show me you love me. Oh, perfect. I have not taken that turn on FSD since that happened. It's been years now. Great job. My confidence is restored in turns and curbing right now, so you will hear me complain less and less, if not at all, about that. But we still have some speed bump issues. Let me see, if it's not going this way, I am going to try to force it that way. The road is not closed this way. I'm gonna go ahead and stop it here. Let's stop it here. I'm gonna end this trip. Make sure no one's behind me. No one behind me? No one's behind me. I'm gonna go Let's go regression test. Let's go that way. Let's go this way. Let's see what happens. And this sign is sticking out kind of wide. Kind of close. Micro adjustment. Perfect. Look at that. Now we're doing the speed bumps just in a different way, a different order. All right, here we go. Speed bump number 1. Good job. Very clear. This one's partially occluded. Speed bump number 2. It is flying. No bueno. Oh, no. Did not slow down sufficiently for speed bump. All right, here we go. Number 3. Oh, no. I'm just going on a flagging spree. Sorry, Tesla team, but we got to do something here. This is a big one. It's just not doing it. All right, fail, 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 all across the board. So many disengagements. All right, let's see what happens here. This one is on an angle, so you can kind of see it. Still doesn't want to slow down, but it was going a good mile an hour, so I let it go. All right, so this is not good for speed bumps. Everything else is great. And if you don't live in an area where there's speed bumps, then it's not a problem. Or consecutive speed bumps, not a problem. Everything is flawless. But if you do have speed bumps or consecutive speed bumps on your route, wherever you might be going, this is a problem. Slow down. Nice and easy. Great job. Can't complain. Everything else is flawless about version 13. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining. I'm not making excuses for it. It is what it is. But speed bump seems to be a problem. Whether you consider it an edge case or not, there seems to be some issue when shadows are over a speed bump, whether they're just not at the right angle for the cameras to see them, whether the lines are kind of faded out or whatever. It cannot handle these speed bumps, specifically in this area, Northeast. So would love for the Tesla team to investigate this a little bit, see if there's something in the works that they're working on that can address it. But listen, I'll give all the credit for taking that dreadful, dreadful turn that curved my rim very well. Curb behavior is excellent right now. That alone is worth me giving it all the stars and all the accolades. The fact that it can make left and right turns, and specifically right turns, without issue, with a good distance, a good mile an hour, and no risk of curbs. And if there is a risk, it makes the micro adjustment in the yoke and the wheel to avoid catastrophe. So I'll just let this ride out for our regression test pass. Super big fail for speed bumps. Super high pass, all A's across the board for everything else other than speed bumps. Acceleration, deceleration, poise, composure, confidence, and curb respect. I'll call it that. Being able to make those turns the right way. Full stop, creep up, left and right, all clear to go. Goes right through. I know some people are a little bit mad about the fact that it's coming to a full stop at the stop signs. They call it the NHTSA stop. For those that are not in the U.S., it's the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration that governs the rules and how people should be driving and vehicles should be operating. People are saying, "Oh, it's too much. I can't believe it. It's crazy. It's the NHTSA stop." It's not the NHTSA stop. It's just the way you're supposed to stop at a stop sign that allows everybody to be safe. Whether it's 1 second, 2 seconds, whatever, it is what it is. This is the way we're supposed to drive, and it goes. Now, one thing to note that people don't really talk about a lot, I know Elon has mentioned it once way back when as kind of a reply to the NHTSA situation, and that is the fact that the electric motor, as it comes to a stop, still spins a little bit. And I believe, I can't find the tweet, I believe they have forced or required, I'm not gonna say forced, required Tesla and probably other manufacturers as well to count any rotation of the motor as a mile an hour. So that's why sometimes you may see me come to what I think is a stop, or you may do it yourself, come to what you think is a stop, but you'll still see 1 mile an hour there. That's because, allegedly, they are forced to round up a rotation of the motor. So if it's still spinning just a little bit, they have to round up to 1 mile an hour. See that? It's completely stopped. 1 mile an hour stopped, and now 0 when the motor has completely stopped. So that might be the cause of frustration that people may be feeling when they feel like the car is coming to too much of a stop. It's not really, it is coming to a stop, but from a regulation standpoint, the motor is still running. It's still moving, and therefore they have to count that in the speedometer. Now, I could be totally wrong. I could be remembering something. It could be a lucid dream, something crazy. I don't know. But I believe that I'm accurate there. Somebody chat down in the comments if you know otherwise. Factually, that is, not speculation. Go for it. Got to be quick. And you got to get over. Oh, good job. Gonna let this finish out our regression test path. A lot of sun. It's hard to see the lights. The lines as a human. I think the HDR of the camera and whatever filters they use should be able to see it, but visibility is tough right now. And this is where FSD can come in handy over humans to see things that humans would have a hard time seeing. All right, last time it staged the right. This time it's bearing towards the left, which is the correct behavior. But now it's making the lane change for some reason because it thinks the cars are going to turn. So still something a little weird there. Again, it's not the wrong thing. I'm just bringing it up because it's different from what we've previously seen several versions in a row, where it kind of biases towards the left and then just goes straight. If there's no cars there, if there's a car there, it will maneuver around it and get back. That's why we do these regression test paths, to see specifically the details of which change. Train is in play here. Where is it going to stop? It's going to block the intersection. It's going to try to creep in there. It's going to try to creep in there. Close to blocking the intersection. Just clearing the crosswalk. Barely, but enough for a person to walk through. So I think that's fine. Now we'll creep up a little bit more. We're all clear. One of the things on the release notes, I believe, was the upcoming section. I'm really looking forward to some of this stuff here. 3x model scaling, 3x model context lens scaling, audio inputs for better handling of emergency vehicles, improved reward predictions for navigation, improvements to false braking and slower driving in parking lots, support for destination options, including pulling over, parking in a spot, driveway, or garage. Really looking forward to that. It definitely does not pull into my driveway or my garage. I have a very steep driveway, so it has to kind of use a lot of torque to get up it. Definitely doesn't do that. Efficient representation of maps and navigation input. I think that might be the issue, where the other issue I didn't mention was an issue with 13, is the fact that it sometimes ignores the navigation data and kind of does its own thing, which is sometimes problematic. So that might be a fix for that. Improved handling of camera occlusion. That should also be interesting, as, again, times like this, you get the salt on the cameras in the winter, and it becomes a little bit of a problem. A little tight squeeze here for this last right turn. See if it can take its time and do it the right way. It'll need to come more straight up a little further. Make a strong right. It can turn on red, choosing not to, probably because it wants to veer a little bit to the left to make the turn. But let's see what happens. If this car comes, it's going to be a problem. Ugh. Good micro adjustment. Good job. Way to handle that. Sometimes people cut the corner too early, too quick when they're that close to it. So great job. Let's see if it shows the exact same behavior, that repeatability and predictability we talked about. Is it going to make this turn and then try to pull into the lot to the left, or is it going to try to pull over right in front? Let's see what happens. Pedestrians are here with the dogs. It's going to pull in front to the left. So this is where snow is on the ground. I'll take over here. It's fine. This is where I also think there's some room for improvement. And I'm not just nitpicking. I'm really saying this because I think this is something that would be super valuable to be able to do. Is just to have predictability. Like, it needs to be able to do the same things every time if the conditions are within a certain margin. Like, if there's no reason that you could not turn left, or right, if the street was blocked off or whatever, you should be able to turn right and go in that parking lot every time. I should know you're going to do that, because when we get to unsupervised, we have to be able to have some level of predictability. We need the car to be able to take us from point A to point B the way that we expect it, the way that we have it on the navigation, and do the things that we expect it to do when it gets there. That's the way you gain trust and confidence with the system, is that it has that predictability to it. When you do things odd, that gives people a little bit of distrust that you're not going to do the right things at the right time. So just something to consider. But in the meantime, let me know what your thoughts about this drive. In terms of my perspective, I think it did really, really good with the drive overall in terms of the regressions and not introducing any major new ones. It did really bad in the sense that it does have the same issues that plagued the last build, specifically around speed bump behavior. Turning, driving from point A to point B is no problem. When it comes to speed bumps, there is something wrong, or maybe it's just speed bumps in this area. There's something wrong. One of the things I think that could help is if they bring back the visualization, so that if I know that the car sees a speed bump, it visualizes it here on the screen, and I can know that it sees it. Or if it doesn't visualize it, I know that it can't see it or doesn't recognize it. That gives me some better context. So I think that would be helpful, at least to help understand if the car is seeing it or not. Beyond that, we just need work here. Something needs to happen where we can get better predictability around speed bumps and speed bump handling, no matter what the situation is. Even if it's map data, because sometimes the sign says speed bump or speed hump, speed table, whatever it says, and they can use that as context if there's nothing else. If it's just the bump itself, maybe there's some map data that can give us some insight into where the speed bumps are on the road. So I'm not sure, but overall I think I did really good. I'm going to give 0.5 increments now, just to help delineate a little better from version to version. And with that said, I'm going to give this a 4, solid 4, no 4.5, but just solid 4, uber black, in terms of its handling of everything else other than the speed bumps. Speed bumps took it down. It probably would have been a 4.5 if not, but I think it was a solid 4. Super comfortable, super nice drive in terms of the confidence it got. It gained major points by being able to do that turn that curved my rim, which I hadn't driven on FSD in years now because it did that. So super, super good in that, in terms of respecting the curve. I give it lots of points for that. All right, so let me know your thoughts in the comments, what you thought about this drive, what you would give this drive, just based on what you saw. Until the next time, enjoy your day, enjoy your Tesla.